all parties involved, for states and all that. Been fortunate through the 3 years back, even for high school, having big rivals, so I've always grown to have an appreciation for the big game. It's definitely as big as it gets, and in the day you just have to do your job, so just try to stay focused, do your job, make the adjustments, so that we were able to do well enough to win.
An even better defense this weekend?
They're statistically have been, and you can see compare. I mean, they're similar in that they play, combinations of odd and forward down front. They don't maybe pressure as much as the team we just played, but they play very, very hard, very, very good. Their players are very, very good. Play great technique, get off blocks, play hard. I think their longest run given up for the year is 26 yards. So they don't give up big plays. They play great team defense. They do it week after week. They've done it year after year. They're playing great. Coach Leonard's got his guys playing well. It's going to be a challenge.
Tough to move.
Well, and whether it be moving, they just get off blocks well too. And their structure, they understand their schemes, where to fit. They understand where to spill the ball. And they're the teams that play really, really great defense have the ability to play from the back end and how the back end stops the run, plays great pass defense. And you've got a team that's either number 1 or number 2 in run defense, 1 or 2 in pass. If they're 1 and 1 and 2 in the other, they're 1 in total. And it starts from the back. They're great up front, they're strong, they're talented to get blocks, but the way the back end defense run and plays the pass, they get you long yardage, their D-line tees off. It's a tremendous defense.
Like hockey, from the goalie out. I don't know.
So what now?
It's like hockey, from the goalie out. That's how some teams defend.
Is there any challenge in?
I like that. I know our team's good.
Is there any challenge in knowing where they're going to be in terms of blocking?
They're like last week was pretty exotic, moving guys around, identifying guys. These guys, they'll do some stuff. They have their adjustments. Their adjustments is the subtle things they do week from week between just how they defend certain gaps or get off and fit things. So, they have their adjustments, they have their tendencies, they will tweak things. Like a year ago, they defended us differently than other teams, but they're not overly exotic. They play very, very hard. They know what they do, and they play great team. And they're individually better than people think, and they play great team games.
Have they changed much? I know they've had some coaching turnover, but they've continued to have the same success. And how much, and you've been around, obviously, how much have they changed over the years?
Haven't played them the last couple of years, so you saw them but didn't study them. And so I'm sure there's some subtle tweaks, but Coach Leonard's actually a part of that defense from years past. He's been there previously, so he's probably got his flavor of things he likes. And I think every year, every coach kind of, if he has the ability, you lean on what your kids can and can't do, how much man coverage or not, how much blitzing or not, what certain line stunts or what, based on the players. So he might be doing things subtly different because of players, maybe subtly different because of him, but it is their defense, and he's led them to play as good as anybody in the country.
Kevin, what Dwayne was able to do at Michigan, I mean, in such a big stage to come in as a redshirt freshman, you've seen a lot of football over during your days. For him to play as well as he did and to show the poise he did, can you just reflect on his play and what you saw out there?
Yeah, we were very fortunate there because we started going backwards with the one penalties, one drive, and then he made the pass to Austin. I think you look at the year. I think we go back into preseason and spring, and everybody's wondering, who's going to be who and who's going to be what. And I kept saying, I remember one of the other things, I'm seeing a kid practice really hard. And I think those practice habits played off. I think going out the week before, when it was tough elements, and we're the whole time saying, this is awesome. Like the game maybe had gotten away, but it was hard. The weather was horrible, the wind was horrible, and he let go of the ball, and he had a huge mistake, and he kind of got penalized for it. We were up there the whole time saying, this is actually good for this kid. It's one thing to play in a game at the end of a game in a mop-up, but there was a lot of stress. I think the way we practice, being in those situations, he played a little, he answered the call and did a great job. His surrounding teammates did a nice job.
How does this week change for him in terms of his preparation? How much more do you put on his shoulders this week with JT being a little dinged up?
Yeah, he'll get a little bit more reps as we go through it. But I don't. Again, I don't think we change a great deal. Each week you maybe attack a structure differently, a defensive front or coverage differently. So there's some subtle changes, but we're kind of in a routine rhythm and kind of doing what we're doing. And he's had a lot on his plate, and we kind of went out there and we didn't cut back what we were doing the other day when he was out there. We kind of did what we did.
Kevin, I asked Urban this the other day or yesterday, but just from a confidence standpoint, from a coaching staff standpoint and the team, how much difference does it make when you've seen the young man actually do it in the game? I mean, deliver in the game, make plays. I'm talking about Dwayne Haskins Jr. from of maybe calling on him, you know what I mean, as opposed to sending a a cold fish out there.
Yeah, because again, the week before, and in other situations, what's the urgency?
Yeah.
And there was some urgency, and he answered the call well. There has been a lot of urgency in practice. I always say a lot of guys can't take the driving range to the golf course. In practice, there's a great deal of pressure and stress, the way we structure things and who he competes against. But to go in that arena, to go on the road, and to be behind, and to be able to answer the call, that was a great job by him. And it gives us, not only us, I think it really gives the team a lot of confidence.
What's the thing you've seen out of J.K. Dobbins that you think? Obviously, he's special. He started at Ohio State as a freshman running back. He's over 1,000 yards. There are two freshman running backs going into this game. Jonathan Taylor. But what have you seen out of J.K. that you think has allowed him to be successful as a freshman?
One, he was talented, but two, that was a very, very mature kid that understood how to take care of his body, understood how to practice right, could listen to coaching and understand the process. The way he was raised, his DNA, the way God made him, he was very, very blessed, not just with talent, but he's a very, very mature kid.
And there's no qualms. I mean, you're a longtime Grizzled coach. There's no qualms going into a Big Ten championship game with a freshman running back. Well, yeah.
He's older than you, so he can say
Veteran
that.
anyway. I'm Grizzled.
He's still getting the question. The Grizzlies.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I mean, that means tough. You've been through the gauntlet. But there's no qualms about going into this game with a freshman starting at running back.
No, I mean, look at who we played right out the gate. And of course, to me, the way he came in against our defense in the spring, I knew the kid had a chance to be. So to me, he's answered the call every week. And the one thing that I just tried to share, and I think a lot of our coaches shared with he or Dwayne and some of those young guys, that when you get in the big game, don't make it bigger than it is. And taking care of the ball and squeezing the ball and fundamentals and things that we talk about the very first practice are as critical in the biggest game as in any game, because when you're off with your fundamentals, that's when the turnovers, the errors in the game gets away from you. So when you get in the big games with the young players, you talk about how to keep it simple and to keep their thoughts channeled on not trying to make a play, but just to play hard. In his world, play behind your pads, play with the ball tight, make one cut and be confident in what you're doing.
How was JT doing, real quick? JT Barrett, is he? I know it's a tricky situation where it can come out at any point, but how's he doing overall, Kevin? JT Barrett.
I mean, looks good, good attitude, working good. I think we're being just smart with the volume, so we make sure that he's there by Saturday. But looks good. I was told prior to the first play, because that situation happened while we're playing defense. It didn't, and we're like, what? And of course, we were getting ready to do a couple things where he might, and like, can you run? Yeah. So we kind of went standard issue until he was out, and right now we're going standard issue, and we'll just be smart with his volume.
And you guys never thought about going with Haskins? It never even occurred to you until JT re-injured the knee.
Correct. Well, he said,
Yeah.
and from the sideline, he was good to go and didn't feel any limit, and we didn't play well at the gate, but it wasn't because of him. It was just play calling and execution.
Kevin,
I know in
you're
November
aware
you've
of what
had to
happened. I'm sorry.
In November, you've dealt with weather the last few weeks. I mean, whether it's wind or rain. I mean, obviously,
It'll be 72 degrees Saturday, 1 mile an hour.
assuming it's not going to be a factor this weekend, of course.
They couldn't get the roof closed the other
Exactly.
day.
How does that
FYI.
change? What you will do offensively. Does that tweak anything from what you guys have been doing lately with perfect conditions?
No, I mean, we've tried to, going in these previous games where we've went out in bad weather because, you need to throw the ball effectively and you need to throw it into, the wind's the worst thing. If it's the one game, we've played a couple games of weather. That has been very, very good. So, we've been reasonably aggressive. We were trying to be smart the other night, but we still threw the ball in the second half in the really, really bad weather. And of course, this will be a very loud environment, a very strong opponent, but it'll be a sterile playing conditions.
I apologize. I didn't research this before I asked you, so I'm making you do all the work. How often have you used a true freshman running back in your career? Have you had
Adrian Peterson was decent.
He was all right.
He's okay.
I wanted to make sure that
Texas too.
that's why I didn't want to say and be wrong.
He was okay. I mean, we've had a few.
Who else?
Tevin Coleman was good young. The kid at Indiana was a good player.
What is it? Is there a common thread, or is it just raw talent? These guys can run it.
One,
no
it's
matter
raw.
what they are?
It's raw talent, but is the kid mature enough to handle the protections and the thought process? Because there's some communication where there's some guys once they have the skill set, they can't process mentally. So a very mature kid. It's very, very grounded, works hard, has good work habits, but can really visually see, process, has a quick mind, is the guys that play. There's some guys instinctively good, but there's some talented tailbacks. The kids that played earlier are very, very mature to handle the mental and physical workload. And all those guys that we just talked about, they kind of showed up as young men. They were men. They weren't little kids.
How about the toughness factor? How does that? I mean, that's part of it too, right? You're talking about physical and mental, but middle of a season for a freshman, I would think, is different from high school.
Well, that's why I go back to earlier. 'Cause you need more than one running back. You need a couple, three, and you need it for practice volume because all those plays add up. All those plays in preseason practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Saturdays, and you got to be able to practice hard enough to get them tough, but you can't over practice. You can't burn them out. You got to be smart with them. Coach Alford does a great job, and that's why again, we're getting reps to Antonio when he's in there. That actually has a purpose, and it gets you through the season, gets you through the long haul.
Hey, Kevin, it's not an arm injury for JT. It's not a shoulder or collarbone or anything like that. It's a knee. If he's just slightly less mobile, could he still be an effective quarterback for you guys on Saturday, or is that something you really have to keep an eye on?
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it, but at the same time, I mean, for us to run our offense, that guys, even if you say you're not going to run him there, you're going to miss blocks. You got to move around. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect the ball. You got to protect the team. So at the end of the day, mobility will be critical to he or anyone playing that position. And how we use him, I mean, we're going to do what we do and play our game.
Kevin, what was the
Saturday,
lesson learned or your reaction to what happened to Greg on Sunday from basically having the Tennessee job to having it taken away from him by the social media and everything else that blew up? What's just your reaction to that?
Well, I know my wife reached out to his family. Around here we kind of work, so we don't sit around and talk about it. We don't gossip. I haven't had a conversation with it. It's whatever. I mean, you live in a public world, and there are a lot of things reported that aren't accurate. We've been a part of that. We know that, and I know like my family just reached out saying, we know your family's hurting, because that's kind of when you get those personal attacks, sometimes it affects your children. Yeah. He's got 3 boys, and it affects your wife, and so you kind of at the same time he's an awesome man. He's a tremendous coach, and he's doing great for us, and I'm sure he's going. God has those plans, and they work out the way they're supposed to.
Hey, Kevin, this was your first Michigan win since I think 2000. Right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, so how did this one feel? I mean, it's been a long time coming for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. Maybe I gotten so old enough that I kind of get in the probably, okay, you got a job to do, and like, okay, and that's kind of good, and I appreciate it, and I get on the next one. So it's not. I try not to get all. I think when I was young, I was all giddy, and I know the first one, 2000, I was fired up about that one, but this one, it's like I wasn't expecting to win. I was like, that was great, and that was good, and we got a lot of work to do, and let's enjoy with the players. But kind of stuff, kind of think I got a little older. I just kind of going through the motions, but like, hey, you have a lot of work to do, and it's so hard in this day and age because of all the media and distractions and voices, just to keep guys channeled and your position or your job and everything channeled on doing your job to help this football team win.
Are you too grizzled?
Yeah, I don't know.
Haven't been on the other.